So today, we're diving into a story about a secret life. But this isn't about some spy or a movie star. We're talking about Bryon Noem, the husband of a very prominent American politician, Kristi Noem. What might have started as a private affair has just exploded into the public, and it's raising some seriously uncomfortable questions.
And this whole thing forces us to ask a really critical question, one that's at the heart of this entire story. When does someone's private life stop being just personal and start becoming a public risk? That's the lens we really need to look through for everything that follows.
So where did all this come from? Well, it all started with a pretty shocking expose from the Daily Mail. They're the ones who broke the story, and it was filled with some absolutely stunning and really specific allegations.
Okay, so what are we talking about here? The report lays out some pretty wild claims. That Bryon Noem dressed in drag, that he took selfies with balloons under his shirt to look like breasts, and that he sent explicit messages. It also linked him to an online community that was all about heavily augmented models. And, to get ahead of the whole is this fake question, the tabloid says it even had the selfies analyzed to confirm they were not generated by AI.
But, allegations are one thing. This story takes a huge turn when you look at the evidence they presented, and maybe even more importantly, at what Bryon Noem said and what he didn't say when they confronted him.
The evidence they put forward wasn't just pictures either. The report also claimed to have tracked a money trail, alleging that Bryon Noem sent at least $25,000 to models inside this very specific online community.
But this is probably the most crucial piece of the puzzle. When the Daily Mail put these claims to him directly, the report says he did not deny dressing up or sending the messages. And that non-denial, well, it speaks volumes.
This part is just a bizarre contradiction. You'd think with all this secret activity, he'd be trying to hide who he was, right? Well, apparently not so much. One model claimed he was totally open about his family and even gave out his business phone number, a number that went to a voicemail greeting from Noem Insurance.
So with the story out there, all eyes immediately shifted to his family, and of course to his very high-profile wife, Kristi Noem. Their official response came through a spokesperson, and the words they chose were pretty powerful.
The official word, which was given to the New York Post, was that Kristi Noem is devastated and that the whole family was blindsided by these revelations. They then asked for privacy and prayers.
And this is the point where the story really pivots. It goes from a personal, family matter to something with potential national security implications. And the reason for that shift? It's all about the timing. According to the report, all of these alleged activities and payments were happening while his wife, Kristi Noem, was the Secretary of Homeland Security, leading the country's largest federal law enforcement agency. That context, it changes everything.
So this created a direct conflict. On one side, you have Bryon Noem, and he's insisting that his actions didn't expose his wife to blackmail. But on the other side, you have intelligence experts who are looking at the exact same situation and sounding a much, much more serious alarm.
And this quote from a former CIA officer really gets to the core of the security risk. The logic is simple, right? If a newspaper can uncover this information, you have to assume that foreign adversaries probably already know it too, and that creates a potential leverage point for blackmail.
Another former spy quoted in the report was even more blunt. They expressed just total disbelief at what they called bad judgment for someone whose spouse was in such a high-level, sensitive position.
Now, to really get the full picture here, it helps to know that this isn't the first time the couple has had to deal with a public scandal. Their history with tabloid headlines, it definitely adds another layer to this whole thing.
You might remember the previous allegations that Kristi Noem was having an affair with a political aide. She denied those claims forcefully, calling them tabloid garbage, and her husband, Bryon, was right there by her side, showing his support.
What's really fascinating, though, is a detail from this new report. One of the models he was supposedly talking to asked him about those exact affair rumors involving his wife, and his reported response was surprisingly passive. He just said, "I know there's nothing I can do about it."
And so, we end up right back where we started. But the question now feels a lot heavier, doesn't it? For people who are close to power, in an age where every single click can be traced, is any secret really private? Or is it just a risk waiting to be exposed?